Well, time now to delve deeper into the mysterious case of Alex Batty. With former Hunted star and undercover detective Peter Bleksley, the disappearance and sudden re-emergence of 17-year-old Alex Batty 6 years after going missing has made headlines all around the world, with the teenager returning to the UK over the weekend. Speaking publicly for the first time earlier today, Batty said he was pleased to be home for Christmas after being taken away to Europe by his mother and grandfather back in 2017 when he was aged just 11. Well, in the 6 years since, he's reportedly been moved between Spain, Morocco and France as his mother looked to settle in a spiritual off-grid community. But last week, after she threatened to move the family to Finland, Batty made the decision to return to the UK to seek official identity documents, spending 4 days trekking through the Pyrenees to find help. Peter Bleksley joins me now. I'm very grateful for it as well. Peter, thank you very much. Lots of questions here, loads of them. What questions would you be asking of Greater Manchester Police right now?
Just how much time, effort and expense did they put in to trying to find Alex when he was originally reported missing in 2017? They're the questions I'd like to be answered, because we've seen Greater Manchester Police having press conferences and expressing how delighted they are that Alex has been found, but sort of not mentioning at all how much work they've actually put in to trying to find him over the years.
You know, serious question marks about our friends on the other side of the channel as well, in mainland Europe. I mean, if it is the case that this child has managed to pass through Spain, Morocco, France, and his mother is possibly in Finland now, presumably there would have been marks on passports for the security services to say they need to be looking for these people now?
Well, we'll have to see just how off-grid they lived, and I'm sure that most of the answers to those questions will come from Alex himself. But of course, the main thrust at the moment is Alex's welfare, both his mental well-being and his physical well-being. So it might be that whilst the police might be keen to question him, certainly I would, as an old sweat detective, I'd want to know where he's been, who's facilitated his movement, are there any other offences disclosed? But in 2023, his welfare has to be the prime consideration, and perhaps the questioning might not come, say, until after Christmas. Who knows?
One of the overriding things with this case that a lot of people are saying is, I'd never heard of it. When you compare that to the Madeleine McCann disappearance, for example, or a couple of the other ones that we've had recently as well, do you think the police maybe just thought, well, look, he's with his mum, so it doesn't really matter? But she wasn't his legal guardian, was she, at the time?
No, his grandmother, Susan, remains his legal guardian. And there may perhaps have been some apathy around all of this because it was a guardianship order that Alex was subject to. And these matters are often held in complete secrecy in family courts. And that's understandable when there are vulnerable children and young people involved in disputes between parents, when there's divorces and the such like. It's only correct that matters are held in family court. So I wonder perhaps, and this is just me speculating at the moment, did the police perhaps see it as sort of a family court matter and not necessarily a high-profile, vulnerable missing person inquiry? We'll have to see.
But, you know, you've had years and years and years at the sharp end of policing, right? Do you find it quite surprising that nobody was able to track this kid down?
Again, it comes down to how hard did they try. In this day and age, it's pretty difficult to live off-grid. Not impossible, not entirely impossible, as we've seen, of course, this week. But it's increasingly difficult. Now, we know in the first instance that Alex went down to Spain on a holiday with his mother and grandfather and didn't return from that holiday, which is when he was reported as missing. So the police would clearly have had a start point in Spain if they'd put necessary resources into trying to find him. And I'm sure off-grid communities can be tracked down, can be found. And I'm a little surprised that he actually spent 6 years completely off the radar.
What will the police be doing now then? So Greater Manchester Police will presumably be all over this and trying to track people down. What do you think they'll be doing? Because they're under the microscope now. Questions like you've just asked tonight about, frankly, what the heck were you doing for 6 or 7 years? I mean, they're going to have to answer those now and be proactive going forward.
They'll be waiting. they'll be waiting to interview Alex. Everything will revolve around Alex's welfare. And it might be, for example, that Alex could say, and once again, this is just supposition on my behalf, he might say, I don't want to get my mum in trouble. I didn't want to live with her, but I don't want to get her in trouble. So please don't investigate her. Please don't try and find her, which of course might not ultimately be his decision, but those are the sort of things that the police possibly will have to juggle with.
All right, Peter, look, thank you very, very much. Great to have you on the show, and I know that you're going to be keeping a close eye on this particular case for us, so no doubt we'll talk to you again very, very soon. Now, in a statement, Greater Manchester Police have said, speaking with Alex at a pace that feels comfortable to him will ultimately determine how this case is progressed and whether there is a criminal investigation to ensue. Our continued focus is supporting Alex and his family in partnership with other local agencies to ensure they are safe, their well-being is looked after, and his reintegration with society is as easy as possible. We are yet to establish the full circumstances surrounding his disappearance, but no matter what, understand that this may be an overwhelming process. He may now be 6 years older than when he went missing, but he's still a young person. So that, of course, who you're hearing in the studio was former Scotland Yard Detective Peter Bleksley,